This question comes from David, who asks, what would happen if Earth suddenly had Saturn-like rings? The short answer is, you would get in trouble with NASA, the International Astronomical Union, the World Meteorological Organization, the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs, and probably every country whose skies you accidentally turned permanently dark. Also, Earth would be destroyed. Well, not exactly. At the risk of stating the obvious, real rings don't politely orbit where you want them to. If Earth acquired giant rings, they would sit in Earth's equatorial plane. That means the rings would cast huge, razor-sharp shadows across the planet. The shadow line would sweep across cities, countries, and continents, plunging them into hours or months of freezing twilight. Tourism boards would not be pleased. But the real trouble begins with the Roche limit. Rings are made of shattered moons, rocks, and ice crushed by tidal forces. For Earth to have rings like Saturn's, one of our moons would need to be torn apart. And tearing apart moons is usually frowned upon by international law. If such a ring existed, it would produce spectacular effects. From the tropics, the rings would stretch across the sky like a glowing cosmic highway. From northern regions, the rings would appear tilted, producing brilliant permanent arcs in the night sky. From the poles, you'd barely see them at all. Sorry, penguins. But beauty comes with problems. The rings would constantly rain debris into the atmosphere, because tiny particles collide, lose energy, and spiral downward. This ring rain would generate streaks of meteors every second, great for photographers, terrible for aviation safety. And then there's climate. The ring shadows would cool some regions and heat others, disrupting jet streams and ocean currents. Weather patterns would become unpredictable, monsoons would shift, and every meteorology textbook would become instantly obsolete. A rough calculation suggests that massive ring shadows could lower sunlight in some areas by up to 10–20%. That might not sound like much until you realize crops, ecosystems, and entire economies depend on that light. But what finally ends the story is orbital instability. Earth's rings would interact with the moon, dragging on its orbit. Over centuries, the rings would clump, collide, and destabilize. Parts of them would fall into the atmosphere as firestorms. Other parts would form new moonlets that would crash back down, generating continent-sized impact scars. If the rings grew dense enough, they could even trigger a runaway cascade of impacts, turning Earth into a kind of cosmic snow globe filled with lethal rocks. In which case, one would be in very, very big trouble with the entire planet.